Snake Eyes is directed by Robert Schwenk and stars Henry Golding, Andrew Koji, Haruka Abe, Iko Uwe, and a slew of others. And here we have the origin of arguably the most popular character from the G.I. Joe franchise, Snake Eyes.
While I was watching this movie, another film with another popular character that was spinned off from his series kept popping into mind, and I'm sure for some of you out there, you know who I'm talking about. But for those of you who don't, I'm talking about the origins of Wolverine. And the story here and the story there, when you think about it, it's pretty much the same. So let's get into it, Snake Eyes. This time around, he's played by Henry Golding, who some people might remember from Crazy Rich Asians, right? And that movie blowing up in a big way and kind of launching his career. I think he was also in that weird romantic movie, Last Christmas, where it was so obvious in the trailer that the guy was dead all along, that kind of thing. Here he is as Snake Eyes. And what we have here is, we got to hear Snake Eyes talk, first of all. I know for some people that might be weird, but there was no way they were going to be able to do this without him speaking. Henry being Snake Eyes, I struggled with, I don't know, because I've seen him in those movies prior. It was a little hard, it took me a minute or two to put him in that action setting. Granted, I also liked him in The Gentleman, and he played a villainous character there. I thought he seemed like he was having a lot of fun with that character. So, I gave him a chance, and I think overall he's a decent Snake Eyes. He's not what I would have in mind for that character, but it worked. And all of the actors here who actually got a chance to shine, I think some definitely stood out more than others. They also, I think they embodied the characters. I think everybody here was trying to deliver on what they were doing. It didn't feel lazy. The writing felt lazy, but I'll get into that. It didn't feel lazy. Their performances were fine, Granted, I wish we got more from the origins of some of these characters, so to speak, like the Blind Master, that sort of thing. I wish they gave us a bit more and they weren't just window dressing. But I think the actors themselves were doing the best that they could with what they were given. So props to them on that. The fight choreography here is pretty decent, I think the fight choreography is strong. The editing that goes along with it, not so much. There are scenes here where you can see fight sequences that look really good. And then there's stuff that the fight sequences is good, but the editing is so choppy that you can't really enjoy it, So the movie does a lot of this for me, because there are highs and there are lows. And in between all of that, what we have here is a somewhat decent action flick. Because the main issue I have with this movie is the fact that I've seen this before. His story is one I've seen before, and I'm going to get into spoilers, guys. I'm going to get into mild spoilers just to explain myself. So we have a guy who, when he was a child, his father was killed, murdered by some people. He grows up. He doesn't have a home. He doesn't even have a name. He goes by the name Snake Eyes, and there's a reason for that. And he's trying to find the man that killed his father and avenge himself. This is the plot line of every 80s movie, every 90s action movie, every 80s action movie, come right up to 2000s and forward. We've seen this done 1,000 times over. And I found myself kind of bored with it all. The moments with certain people, certain characters, like Andrew Koji, I hope I'm saying that correctly, who plays the head of the Ashikaji clan, hope I'm saying that correctly, right? And who becomes Storm Shadow. He's actually my favorite character in this entire movie, and I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But this story here, it was, I don't know, this movie takes itself too seriously. I think that's the biggest problem. This is a G.I. Joe film. We should be having fun with this character. We should be having fun with all of this. and yet everything is played super serious. Everything about it. And come on, we're talking about a movie with ninja clans in the modern day world, where kind of magic mystical stuff exists, where there's a clandestine group called Cobra who kind of pops up because they know they had to find a way to fit this back in with the G.I. Joe themes. That stuff, we should have gotten more. They should have embraced the comic like, you know, world that this exists in. They should have tried to pull in more of that instead of focusing so much on we got to keep this grounded, we got to keep it real. So many movies fall into that trap that they have to ground their heroes, their superheroes, or their comic book heroes, or their cartoon heroes in reality, when in truth and in fact is those worlds are not realistic. We don't need reality. I mean, for crying out loud, each one of the Joes has a pet that goes with them everywhere on missions. You know, it's ridiculous. It's not meant to be taken this seriously, and this is where this movie falls hardest. It takes itself too seriously. You know, the strength of this film for me, and funny enough, when I started watching it from that point of view, which only happened really in the final act, sadly, this is when I started to enjoy myself, because Andrew's character and what he does with Storm Shadow, that to me should have been, I mean, it couldn't be the movie, but it was the most interesting aspect of the movie. Storm Shadow's rise and fall, so to speak, in this film is so much more interesting than Snake Eyes and his whole I want to avenge my father's death and I don't care who I have to run over to get it done, but I'm ultimately the good guy. How are you the good guy? When you watch this movie, how am I supposed to embrace Snake Eyes as the hero here? He betrays everybody who trusts him because he wants vengeance. So, and then in the last act, he suddenly decides that he needs to do the right thing. Where we have Storm Shadow, who's been doing the right thing for the entire run, being a good guy, being an honorable man, and trying to be the best leader of his clan that he can be, who brings in this guy, treats him like a brother, trusts him, to have that guy turn on him, right? And then because he makes a split second decision, he loses everything in the process. Obviously he's gonna hate Snake Eyes. I hate Snake Eyes. So how it is I'm supposed to look at this movie and be like, Snake Eyes is the coolest guy ever, when this is the origin story you're giving me and this is how you give it to me, right? I want to follow Storm Shadow. I want to see his story now. I have no interest in Snake Eyes as a character because this movie waters him down, so to speak, gives him a generic backstory that is in no way interesting. And I'm sorry, but what Andrew does with his character is so much more compelling than what Henry does with his character. So if this was a Storm Shadow movie, I feel like it would have been so much better than what we got. And what we got is pretty average. So I'm giving Snake Eyes a 5.5 out of 10. I'm sure there are people out there who are going to enjoy the hell out of this as an action movie. They're just probably going to switch it all off and enjoy it for what it is. And I think if you remove the name Snake Eyes from this and you remove G.I. Joe, because all we really get from G.I. Joe is Samara Weaving as Scarlett O'Hara. That's about it, you know, and a little thing in the end where we see Snake Eyes get his iconic look and he gets, you know, invited to be one of the Joes, that sort of thing, you know, but that's it. That's really it. So remove G.I. Joe and remove Snake Eyes. Name this something else, and this is a pretty decent action movie. But the fact that it's supposed to be a G.I. Joe film, which means it's based off a cartoon which was created to sell toys, which we all had a ridiculously good time with. You're supposed to bring that kind of energy to this movie, and you didn't. So you get a 5.5 out of 10. And that's going to be it for this one, guys. So let me know how you felt about the latest from G.I. Joe. And if you liked it, please tell me what about it really worked for you. And if you like this video, please feel free to hit that thumbs up button. It's always appreciated. If you're new and you'd like to subscribe to my channel, you can click on my face when it pops up right about there. And you can check out past reviews right along this way. So until the next one, guys. Bye-bye.